Today's the day CleanSpark and Mara report earnings today. ARM actually already reported earnings. Actually, CleanSpark did too. We'll take a look at that. Well, we'll also take a look at Bitcoin and maybe a little bit of the Tesla chart there, possibly Palantir at the very end, just to round things out. So Bitcoin today is currently down 0.1%. It's just hanging out around that 61,100 level. We are waiting to see it come out of this aggressive downtrend here. This, to me, starting on May 6th, looks very much like controlled selling. This is very controlled looking. So I would be expecting to see a similar pattern out of this. So once it breaks out of this controlled selling pattern, I'd be looking for an opposite controlled buying pattern. Very similar to like what we saw back here from, let's see, from April 13th till the 17th, and then followed by a very similar, almost exact path on the way up from the 18th until the 22nd. So I'd be looking for something like that sort of move to come right back up to about the $65,000 level here in the next couple of days or a week or two from now. But I'd want to see it needs to break out of this descending pattern too. I mean, we also saw that here on April 30th and May 1st, and then on May 2nd and 3rd and 4th, it went right back up to where it was. So I'm looking for basically just repeating patterns back and forth, just range bound, kind of with a descending edge, but range bound for Bitcoin until it breaks out. That's what I'm looking at there. CleanSpark announced its earnings today. Look at this. So it's out. It's already out. It says it came out yesterday. I don't know. The dates for earnings are constantly so mixed. It's really annoying. Like where I see it one date on TradingView and I see it as other dates in other places. It's kind of frustrating. I think I need to get it just from the source itself, basically from the company's webpage itself going forward. Because I did get mixed up about that yesterday. And I'm still confused about this because I thought this was yesterday, but then it went and checked some other areas, some other websites, and it said it was going to be today. And now I've come back to see that it was in fact yesterday. Doesn't matter. We have our earnings here, and CleanSpark is a beat. It beat on earnings per share by 6.29%. It beat on revenue by 3.6%. So it beat in both places, and it is on the day flat. We're minus 0.12% today, basically perfectly in line with Bitcoin today. We did get this candle here that I like. I like this candle here at the bottom of a move. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think if Mara reports good earnings as well this evening, we might see this move up. But honestly, this earnings season has been plagued with companies providing beats and then not as strong guidance, followed by punishment of the stock price. That's been the constant theme this time around, honestly, and that's making playing earnings a very dangerous game this quarter. It's very much like gambling right now, and of course, not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. I am getting out of all of my plays that are short term before earnings this this season. It's been just that bad. Like Palantir reported good earnings, didn't have the future growth that Wall Street wanted as much as they wanted. Fell massively. You saw RIOT had some good earnings. They weren't the greatest, but they were good. Fell. The only companies that were doing well on the earnings were those that announced buybacks or dividends, as well as slight beats or even misses. Or Tesla that just said, "Oh, we're going to give you a future that we can't really guarantee, but we say we're totally going to do it," and that sent them absolutely flying up. Now, I do think that there are other factors at play there, and I'm not just bashing on Tesla. I just thought that was interesting that they had really, really horrific earnings, and Elon just said, "We're making more cars," and then it went up. So that was interesting. Giving them the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, you have companies that are providing quite good earnings, but like softer forward guidance, and they're getting absolutely hammered. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's something that's sort of playing out here on the CleanSpark chart. It's not getting hammered, but it is not going up. It's staying absolutely flat off of positive earnings, and now I think that'll shake out in the future here soon, because right now we are in this nice consolidating pattern on CleanSpark, and we have been. Of course, we need to get up and above that $18 level to make this into a double bottom, a bottom here on May 1st, and then hopefully another one here on May 8th. And then as soon as we cross above that $18, realistically, honestly, 1836, once we cross above that, that turns into a double bottom, which takes us all the way back up to the mid 20s, like low 20s, like $22, $21, $22, we'd be looking at off of this double bottom here is where that would end. Assuming it ends there, it could go higher, it could go up to another cycle high, but we'll see with that on CleanSpark. Let's take a look at Mara. Mara reports this evening, so I'll probably cover that this evening. If I have the time, I'll see what I can do about that. I would like to do that. Leading up to that, it is minus 2.64%. As I mentioned yesterday, I had some calls that I bought about 2 weeks ago. I sold all of those calls leading into this earnings report because I have been noticing, like I mentioned before, companies even providing good earnings have been getting punished. I didn't want to see all of my profits from my calls dwindle to zero, so I got rid of those. They were in profit anywhere between, what was it about? It's about $600 of profit that I had that I closed out on from Mara that I had gotten in around this inverted hammer candle here on the first. And now I'm waiting for earnings to come out, and I'm waiting for it to either be flat or down a bit, and then I'll be looking at potentially getting back into those calls that I had before. So I'm just waiting for these earnings to come out because, like I said before, I think like this earnings season specifically is gambling, and I'm not trying to lose money. So that's why I closed out my Mara calls yesterday. And I mentioned that on yesterday's video as well, if you watched that. Let's take a look at what's going on with some of our other miners. Let's see, RIOT down 2.32%. Nothing's really changed there. It's just coiling in this range between $9.60 and $11. Once it gets out of that and back above this orange dotted line here, then we're looking at potentially quickly coming up to $13, hopefully higher than that. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. What's going on with the farm? Bitfarms also has its earnings coming up on May 13th, so watch out for that next week. We're down almost 2% here. Again, sort of petering out here. We're making a bit of a pennant down here at the bottom of this move, starting about right there. Yeah, like that, following that line. And then we got this one here going, hey, got this one here going up, forming that pennant right there. It's going to coil in here. And then when this breaks, it's going to be dramatic. So we've really only got, what, another 10 days or so before this pennant will break one way or the other. So I'm going to leave that on there, see what happens on this chart. I hope it's an upward break. That would be fantastic for me and my portfolio and a lot of your portfolios too. So that's what we're hoping for. But it could break to the downside. And if it breaks to the downside, we're coming all the way down to like 120, 130 on this thing. So be cautious there. Keep that in mind. Prices being suppressed. If earnings aren't phenomenal, if they don't announce a new CEO soon, if they don't stay on track with their exahash goals, we could very likely see a Bitfarms at the 120 to 130 level in terms of $1.20, $1.30. And on the upside, if this pennant were to break, we would hit resistance around $2, $2.15, and we'd have to fight our way up to like $2.50. And after we get over $2.50, then we've got clear skies up to $3. Let's take a look at Bit Digital. What's going on with Bit Digital? Bit Digital, they have now moved their earnings on TradingView to Wednesday, May 15th, which I won't believe until I see it. I should have said that for Bitfarms as well. So we are, again, just coiling near the bottom of the move here. This is a little ominous. I am seeing what could be a double top right here on Bit Digital on April 25th and then May 3rd. If we get back below $1.89, we are very quickly going to go down to 176 and probably lower, to be honest. Probably all the way down to like the 160 level off of this double top. That could happen. That would suck, but it's part of the game. It is showing a double top here. We need to get above 233. Otherwise, if we get anywhere below 190, we're going to have a really bad time on Bit Digital. Let's take a look at Cipher warrants real quick. Cipher warrants are actually up a little bit today. They've been flat the last 2 days, really, to be honest. I'm waiting for this selling pressure to alleviate and then pop right back up to like that 150 level. I have my limit order for $1.53 for my 1,000 shares of CIFRW. I do think that will eventually happen here sometime in the next 3 to 6 months, and I'm just waiting to see that happen. All right, that's the miners for today. It's kind of a really flat day, not a lot going on, except we've got the CleanSpark earnings, and it looks like CleanSpark is finally getting a little bit of a benefit from its earnings. Right now, it's up 1.5%. That's great, but that's also because Bitcoin went from being minus, 0.15% to being up 0.09%. So CleanSpark's showing some life there because of that as well. I don't think it's really as much earnings driven as it could be. So anyways, let's take a look at ARM real quick. So ARM had a nice big drop today. This is an hourly candles, by the way. On this one, all the other ones are daily. This is hourly. ARM had a nice big drop today, even though they beat earnings per share by 19.55% and they beat revenue by 7.17%. Those are phenomenal earnings for a company of this size. Phenomenal. But their forward guidance was they were expecting next quarter to have lower revenue from licensing, and that caused the stock to drop 5.46% despite phenomenal earnings. They're getting absolutely hammered, even though they're making way more money than anyone expected. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm saying that this earnings season is a gamble. They can come out with phenomenal earnings and just get absolutely hammered because they said next quarter the licensing revenue isn't going to be as high as you know they were initially thinking. So now I'm watching this very closely again. Now we're back to that $100 level on ARM. I am looking. I have noticed that the premiums came down dramatically today. So I might wait a day or two or three to see how that shakes out, see if those improve or if they get worse before I enter into another cash secured put on ARM like I did before. I mentioned before I made about $200 on that in 3 or 4 days. I closed out before earnings because I expected something like this to happen, and it did, so that's good for me. I'm looking for it to come probably to this red dashed line down here. That's the trend line that I've been following for it lately. And that would represent it coming down to, anywhere between 97 and $100 in the next couple of days. And from there, I'd be looking to sell a cash secured put anywhere beneath $95, maybe 94, maybe $93 on it. And once it gets below $100, those should get significantly more valuable for me to sell. And then I'd sell it out for about a month and then, take if like I did last time, I got 60% profitability on that cash secured put within a matter of days, and that prompted me to sell it very quickly, especially with earnings coming up. If that were to happen again, of course, I would sell it. Otherwise, I would hold it till maturity. And that's all there is to do about ARM. It has an upside potential upwards to like $106, downward potential to about $95. Premiums are kind of not so good right now because earnings are over. The big event is over. So the IV crush was real there, especially if you had calls. Man, that would have sucked. Huh? So that's all. ARM's just kind of vacillating in this area right now. Let's move on to Palantir real quick. Palantir, let's go to the daily. Daily Palantir is down 2.23%, and they also had pretty phenomenal earnings. Now, it wasn't like great, and I shouldn't say phenomenal. That's not a good description of these earnings. They were good. Up 3.52% on earnings per share, up 3% on revenue. Their future growth looked fantastic based on the earnings call, but despite that, they dropped from $24 all the way down to $21. So, who knows what's going on? I don't. You can see though, you can see that volume has been falling for 3 days, right? It's been coming down, down, down. That's good. That means that this move is slowing down. It means that this move is looking to begin to start charging back up again. Once we see price get back above this 2166 level, I'd be looking at it to quickly come up to like 23, maybe even $24. So that's what's going on with Palantir right now in that respect. Let's take a look at Tesla. What's going on with Tesla? Oh man. All right. So this is a 5-minute chart. And I was looking at this morning because I was thinking about doing another trade. In fact, I was looking at entering on this white line, thinking that this right here was a bear flag. But I had to wait for it to break that line. Didn't break that line. Glad I waited for it to break that line because it didn't, and it reversed immediately. What I was looking for, if it were to break this line, I was looking for it to come down to 172, which was the pre-market lows. And also lined up nicely with a tweezer back here from yesterday as well. And then if that didn't hold it and it kept going, like that's where I would have put my orange line. And then my green line I would have put down here at about 171 because it corresponds with the pre-market low of the day before. So now you can see price reverse there. Reverse pretty hard. Now this looks very much like control buying. And there is, right now, it's in this little pocket of resistance right there where it's probably going to get stuck. And this is a 5-minute chart, by the way. So I'd be looking at this to potentially come like this, break this break this channel here, and once it breaks that channel, I'd be looking for it to make a run to this white line again. And from that white line, if that breaks, then I'd be looking for it to come down to that 172 range on that. And I'll be watching that later because I'll see if there's a trade that comes in there. Let's take a look at the macro though. What does the daily look like for Tesla? It looks like it's just kind of hanging out between 184 and 170 right now. And then if we get like a flash drop, we might see it come down to like the 160s. So that's all I've got for you this morning. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.